Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gebo the Shaman, and today we are talking about ETs and this solar shift. So I wanted to come on here today and kind of look at some assumptions and kind of fill you guys in on what's going on with ETs. So this is a job that I feel like you know, I need to do a better job of is like actually teaching, actually, because I've been doing I've been doing a lot of meditations recently, which are great, and like my spiritual teacher, he does a lot of like teaching, like actually informing you guys of his experiences and all that. Um so I feel like I need to do the same to help out in this shift because people, like more and more people, are going to come to me. And so I feel like I need to, that's something that the ETs have actually told me. And I feel like I need to kind of get better at teaching and explaining things and things like that. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to take a closer look at what is really going on with this earth shift. Okay? So, um let's start off with our assumptions. So we need to analyze our assumptions about our reality, about everything. Okay? Because having the wrong assumptions can actually do you more harm than good. Because if you think, oh, well, ETs, aren't they like scary? Aren't they, out to drain our semen and put them in, ovaries and create this human alien hybrid? No. That's not what ETs are. Okay. So, I know that's a whole other subject. That's human beings doing that stuff to us. But okay, so what are your assumptions about yourself? Let's start off with ourselves, like our own selves. So, what is your assumption about yourself? I want you to tell me that. You don't have to do it in the comments, but think about that. What are your assumptions about yourself? Are you just a tiny, powerless human? Or on other higher dimensions that are connected to you, are you a god? Here's the truth. You are God. You're not just a tiny little puny, powerless human. You're God. And I know a lot of people, and I've said this in the past, and a lot of people say it. Oh, our soul is a divine spark. That we are, little tiny pieces of God. That we have, pieces of God inside us. But the ETs want to tell you that you are a deity, like you are God. You are the source. So the source. So think about it this way. If we think of the source or God, the source has what created multiple different deities. Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, Odin, Vili, Ve, um, you know, Parvati, Lakshmi, all these things, Thor, Loki, all all the gods from all the pantheons, from all the system, all the, belief systems. The source has created all of that, and the source manifests itself as all of those things, and all of those things are deities, all of those things are gods. So it's not like, oh well, Shiva's only like 1/5 of God. No, it's the whole thing. It's manifestations of the divine. That doesn't mean that, oh well, Ganesha, he's only like 1/10 God. No. And so the same thing goes for you. We have how many billions of humans on this planet? Oh, you're just one trillionth of a god in you. Your soul is 1 trillionth of a god. No, it's the whole thing. It's everything. So your soul, if you imagine that what is the mantra there? Ong So Hung. I am the universe. I am God. So if you are the universe, if the universe is within you, then what does that mean about you? You are everything. You are God. Shiva Hum. I am Shiva. What does that mean? You are God. We like to delude ourselves into this, and I can understand it because Earth is so hard. Earth is painful, fucking hard. And so we think, oh, we're, our souls are fragments of the divine. No, we are the divine. Like, we are the gods. Might not seem it like might not seem like it on Earth, where we have to pay bills and do this and do that, but we are God, not just our souls, but our consciousness. So there's, mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, soul. So what is the mind? The mind is the consciousness, and the soul is I guess, yeah, that's a good question for the ETs. Is there a difference between the consciousness and the soul? The mind and the soul? Because we all know we're gonna, our physical bodies are gonna stay here if we die. Or at least that's been the assumption in the past when people have died. Okay, so now we're going to move on. So I really want you to analyze your assumptions. Everybody loves to be a victim. Ask me how I know. Everybody gets off on being a victim, or at least a lot of people do. Oh no, I can't accept that I'm a god because I'm helpless and things are shitty in my life. And it's like, okay, well, you created that, so that's something that you created. And as a person with disabilities, that's a harsh lesson for me. It's like, oh, I created all this? Oh God, what does that mean? But if you don't look at the negative side of that, Like, okay, I did this to myself. Why did I do this to myself? You know, if you look at the positive side, you can say, okay, well, I created this. So how can I create something that I want? How can I uncreate this negative situation in my life and create something that I really want? And that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. So, let's see here. So, what are your assumptions about yourself? Just a powerless human or God? Um, what are your assumptions about ETs? Are you afraid of ETs? Do you think that ETs are evil? That, you know, they're gray aliens like the ones that we see in movies, and or, you know, Alien versus Predator? Like, what do you think what do you think ETs are? And yes, there's a difference. There's a distinction between ETs and aliens. So, I personally, and I want you to analyze your assumptions about that. What what do you what do you think ETs are? And are you afraid of ETs? So, ETs. So I'll tell you about my experience. So my teacher started doing these C5 meditations, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is so like so strange. I And he was like a very practical, down to earth guy. Uh you know, and granted, I had learned a lot from him at the time, and you know, I, I had achieved so much, just personal growth, spiritual growth, all that stuff through his teachings and through what I had learned from him. And so, and that's, you know, that's not just because of him, that's because I actually did the hard work. You know, that's you can have a fucking spectacular teacher. You can have an awesome teacher. But, you know, if you don't do the work, it's all for vain. It's all for nothing, you know? It's like, so it's actually a waste of the it's a waste of the teacher's time and energy for him to be an excellent teacher, but then you want him to teach you, but you don't honor that. You don't take the steps to actually do what he's teaching. I mean, and this is what I get frustrated about too, because I can teach you qigong, I can teach you all kinds of stuff. I can give you the greatest life lessons in the world, but if you're not going to follow them, and if you're going to keep devolving into your unconsciousness, then there's nothing I can do for you. Not a damn thing I can do. And so this is one of the most frustrating parts of being a teacher, a spiritual teacher, is like your students fucking up. And it's like, why are you fucking up? You know better. But, so, yeah, very frustrating. Very, like, so, that's just to kind of say, I was very I was very kind of I wouldn't say I was afraid of ETs or connecting with ETs. It was just so weird to me. It was just so out of the box. Like, what the? Here's this guy who's like, a tough guy, very masculine, very muscly, spiritual teacher, spiritual guy. And I'm like, and you're doing, and you're doing C5. What the? It's just very off putting to me. I'm like, why is he doing this? I, I was very put off by it. I was just like, okay, I can't do this. Like, why? Like, but anyway, he had a very profound experience. And I think if he didn't have any real connection with ETs, he probably would have just discontinued. But here's the great thing. Any single time, every single time that you connect, that you attempt to connect with ETs, well, they're going to be there. Whether you acknowledge that or not, it doesn't matter. They're there. Like they're always going to be there. Okay? So, um you might not realize, or you might not like get a feel for their presence, or you might just do a C5 meditation and nothing happened. But I can guarantee you, they're there. you know, they're there with you. Like, it's just our limitation. So, as I said, I was very, kind of hesitant to go with the ET thing. But then I saw him having all kinds of experiences, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't deny that this is not real. So I'll go with it. I'll try my own thing. And, you know, and so through that experience, I was, at first, it was very difficult for me to communicate. And this was justified. This was like, yeah, like, this was, like, this was kind of confirmed when I had my C5, or when I had my channeling session with Mahadeva, which is my teacher. Um, and he said that they've been kind of hands off with me, and you know, and so it was my job to reach out to them. So, you know, so they don't want to freak anyone out. They're very subtle. They're very hands off, If you want to reach out to them, then they'll be there for you. And try to communicate very subtly, but if you don't want to reach out, or if you're angry at them, or tell them to F off, they'll back off. But then maybe the next time like maybe a month later, you're like, oh yeah, I want to connect with the ETs. So they'll be right there to connect with you. They'll be right there, you know? Um, so moving on here, what do you assume about the solar shift? What do you assume the solar shift is? The solar flash, the solar whatever. So, the solar flash already ended. If I tell you the solar flash already ended, what is your assumption about that? So, yeah, the solar flash is already over, guys. It just ended like a week ago. Now, if I tell you that, and you're like, oh, well, nothing happened. No, something did happen. Mother Earth absorbed that solar radiation, that gamma radiation. So the solar waves came down, penetrated into her, and now she is in a birthing process. So as this, as this energy takes hold, like, you can have a seed of higher energy frequency, but it needs to take time to blossom, right? It needs to take time to grow. And so as this seed is blossoming, growing up into a plant, or growing, penetrating the earth, but also expanding. So the earth is going to become more unstable. And so you can't, stay where you are. If you're here and you're just staying here, there's going to be 3 levels. There's going to be a lower level. There's going to be a higher level. So if you're just staying static on the earth, expecting some solar flash to suddenly awaken and enlighten you, then you're going to miss the boat. So if you're standing here, you're just going to fall through. You're just going to, the earth is like this. The earth is like becoming more unstable, more shifting, more, like, and so, if you just stay still, you're just gonna fall right through. And this is on a frequency level, an energetic level, not like physically. Not the ground is not going to disappear beneath your feet. But if you stay where you are, if you stay stuck, then you are going to, it's like you're going to fall through. You're going to descend in energy level. So right now, if you look at where the earth is energetically, frequency-wise, we've already started to drop in frequency. So the Schumann resonance many years ago, I think decades ago, was like 9.6, and now it's like 7.2 or something like that. So, and this is the resonant frequency of Earth. But now it's becoming instead of a frequency of physical vibration and frequency, it's becoming a spiritual frequency. So, if you really want to go to 5D, you're going to have to raise your frequency. And if you reach out to the light beings, they want to, reach out back to you. They said that they want to raise everyone's frequency. They want to lift everyone up to where they are. But when that happens, when they try to reach down to humanity and grab their arm, grab their hand, when they try to make contact with us, it freaks us out so much that, it just freaks us out so much that we then recoil in fear. We just draw our hand back. Um, so this is something that we are going to need to heal within ourselves. So, my own spiritual teacher experienced this when he encountered a very powerful ET who put energy into him, and it gave him frozen shoulder because he was trying to justify what was going on, because when you have something in such a higher dimension that defies your 3D understanding of the world and your place in it, it just breaks your brain. We're so used to our 3D world, our 3D life, that we're so closed off to what is going on up there. And up there, that is actually our home. That's our home. So, alright, we'll move on here. Solar flash already ended. Mother Earth is becoming more unstable. You can't stay where you are, or you will either rise or fall. And by the way, the natural inclination is to fall. Just a static human being, not doing any energy work, not working on themselves spiritually, not, wanting to meditate or anything like that, will naturally just plunge into the lower earth. So there's going to be separate physical realities. The dark force elites like Bill Gates and, Epstein and this and that, these people, they're going to, they're going to find themselves in a hell of their own creation. Their souls are going to suffer because that's what they chose. They're not willing to, come at this with an open heart, an open mind, wanting to communicate with the ETs, not wanting to. I mean, they're naturally repelled against them. So what's going to come, guys, is they are going to try everything that they can possibly do to stop this event from happening, to stop this shift from happening. But it already happened. There's nothing that they can do, or that, they're trying to block out the sun with weather modification, chemtrails, all that shit. But the sun already penetrated the earth. It's already happened. We won, So then let's talk about this. What do you assume 5D is? Now, the ATs never said the word 5D to anyone. 5D is a human creation, a human understanding. Lots of people, 5D is like the shift, like going into 5D. The new age community is all about that. They kind of created that, whatever. But 5D dimensionally is a real place. So, lots of people on my on my spiritual teacher's YouTube channel, Michael Denney, they'll say, "Oh, I'm already in the fifth dimension." No, you're not. No, you're not. We're all in 3D together. If you were in the fifth dimension, you wouldn't be able to type on a keyboard. You wouldn't have the ability to, to interact with things, to pick things up, to, whatever, all that crap. That's a very three-dimensional thing to do. So, it's like, so what is the fifth dimension? Well, I'm going to explain this in physics. So what is a dimension? A dimension is a line. A line. So what is a line? A line is 2 points in space, or like I guess it would be like a plane of existence. One plane where you could have a being in that plane that, would go back and forth on that line. That would be his existence. That would be his whole perception of existence. What is 2 dimensions? So you have left to right, that line, and then you have forward and backwards. So like a sheet of paper would be 2 dimensions. Now a sheet of paper has some bit of width, some thickness. Imagine if it didn't have any thickness. That would be 2 dimensions. So you have forward, backward, left, and right. 3 dimensions is a box, right? A box. So you have forward, backward, left, and right, and you have up and down. So that's, that's a box. So what is 4 dimensions? Forward, backward, left and right, up and down, and then we have that, that box, that element that moves in time. So the 4th dimension is time. Because if we just had 3 dimensions, we would have just static. It would just be static, just like a box sitting there. But the 4th dimension actually gives us a movement in time and space. So the 5th dimension is another direction. So in the 5th dimension, for example, us 3-dimensional beings, right? We can go, like if we had a sheet of paper in front of us, we could interact with that 2-dimensional sheet of paper. We can interact with 1 dimension if we had a line in front of us, right? So, this is the thing about this. So in 5 dimensions, a fifth dimensional being could interact with time, the fourth dimension. And they could show up in multiple places at once. They could have a full understanding of points in time and space. Like they could go travel back in time. They could travel forward in time. And when they say, okay, you're gonna come up to an event soon, right? The solar flash. Oh yeah, that's happening soon. Or the the 3D 5D Earth split. Yep, that's happening soon. You're coming home soon. So when they tell you that stuff, it's like they're looking at this timeline. They're like, oh yeah, you're almost there. Wow, look at that. Now in human time, okay, you're looking at your watch. Okay, I'm gonna be in 5D soon. What, 6 o'clock? Okay, cool. I'll wait around. you know, it doesn't work like that. We don't have the same perception of time and space. Now, if you want to go even further than that, a sixth dimensional being has multiple it can have an awareness of multiple points in the fifth dimension. All that stuff. So I won't bore you with like all the stuff, but it's just so interesting to look at this. Like, what does that mean? So when someone tells you they're in 5D, and you can see, oh, they're poke poke, they're a real person. No, they're not. They're not in 5D. Otherwise, they would be in another complete dimension. Okay, so what do you assume you need to do to shift up? So here's where a lot of people falter. Oh, we're going through the shift, okay. A lot of people assume that this is just something that's going to happen to Earth, and that all humans can just sit on their ass, not do shit, and be leveled up. That's not how it works. So, what are your assumptions that you, like, what do you assume the shift is going to be? What do you assume that, the, what do you assume that you need to do to shift up? If it's nothing, oh, I just sit around and think good thoughts, you're sadly mistaken. And so this is something that brings up attachments. So, how do you assume you need to shift up? So, a lot of people just think they need to be very passive, very, oh, good things will happen, just like the Christians do. Just like the Christians. Oh, one day the rapture will come. I've seen with my own eyes how Christians go about the world. There's a lot of them that just sit on their ass and don't do anything. Just wait for something good to happen to them. I'm sorry, but that's not how you live life. You need to go after things. You need to pursue things. You need to, it's like, be ambitious. You need to, like, freaking make things happen if you want them to happen. Like, if I was a Christian, which I'm not, and I wanted the rapture to happen, I would be meditating, I'd be praying, I'd be, doing everything I could do to make sure that that happens, or to raise myself up to that level, you know? So this is actually interesting. This brings up a point. When my teacher had a vision or a dream about this shift, I believe he was like walking through like a crowded place, a crowd, and people were watching these guys play drums. It was like almost like a welcoming of a dignitary, a president or something like that. They were playing drums and everyone was excited and all that. And in this vision, he saw from the sky something falling down and plunging into the earth, like just planting itself into the earth. And it was a cross. So he saw a cross, and he saw Jesus on that cross. And then he's thinking to himself, oh fuck. Oh shit. Was I wrong about, about God, about Christ, and all that? Whatever. And then, so he sees, like, Jesus on the cross, and then he's, like, looking up to something else in the sky. And then this something else is like, and I forget exactly what it was, but it was like an ET craft or something like that. Something else, like something ET related. And so that just tells him that, like, that kind of signified to him that, okay, this shift is going to kind of appear as like a rapture, like where people will just disappear. And then, but people will then learn that it's actually alien related, or something to that effect. Like, the earth will shift up everything that it will think that it's like good, it's the return of Christ or whatever. And then the ETs will actually make contact then. So that's just one dream revision. Alright, so what do you assume you'll need to do to shift up? If your assumption is that you just be lazy, or if you think good thoughts, just think good thoughts, positive thoughts, all that. Nope. You're sadly mistaken. So what is a shift? What is a shift in frequency? It's a perspective change. It's a change in perspective. It is it's seeing yourself as that God that we talked about. It's about detaching from the lower dimensions and freeing ourselves up to go to the higher ones. So let's talk about attachments. So somebody on my spiritual teacher's YouTube videos, these spiritual people say the damnedest things. Oh, I don't have any attachments. I don't have any earthly attachments. Well, you're a damn liar. Because if you're still here on this earth, you're attached. Sorry, bud. I know I have attachments. You know, whether it's to be liked or to, want to experience certain things in this life, like relationships or, um, you know, having, being able to do things with my body or, like, exercise or go, to soccer or to go play sports, baseball, the physicality. Even if you have no like psychological attachments, your physical attachments, like, wanting to experience a jog or like stretching of the body or physicality of some kind. That's why we're here. That's why we're on Earth, to experience physicality. Whether that means like the joys and pleasures of like sex or things like, sports, competition, swimming, things like that. We're here to experience some kind of physicality as humans. So, if we have an attachment to whether I don't honestly think that a physical attachment, like loving to play baseball or something, is to the same extent as a psychological attachment. Like I need to take care of my mother. I need to, have her like me, love me, and approve of me. Oh, I need to, stay here for my wife or my, whatever, kids or whatever. Kids are gonna be fine during this. I have a feeling that children, they'll be fine. They'll shift up. One is because they don't, they're kids. They don't have, they have the responsibility of, being an adult, being, responsible for their own lives and things like that, and emotional kind of regulation as adults do. There's a difference there. So kids are gonna be fine. They'll shift up. Is my intention and my thoughts on that. Okay, so we already talked about this stuff. The New Age definition of the solar flash is an instantaneous global enlightenment. That is false. That's not how it's gonna happen. As I said, the solar flash already ended, or so the ETs said that this is going to be a series of solar waves of love that started on December 21st, 2022 is when my teacher got that message. Solar waves of love, a series. Not a solar flash, not a solar flare. A series of solar waves of love. Okay? And the ETs told my teacher, Michael Denney, that the solar waves of love have ended. and we won. We defeated the elites. We defeated all evil, all negativity. And now our job is to focus on protecting the earth, because she's at a very sensitive point right now. She's very, she's pregnant now. She's birthing the new earth, and things will continue to shift. So ETs say Earth's transformation process has begun and will continue to increase. Just like, planting the seed in Mother Earth. Well, she will then, that seed within her will continue to expand and expand to the new Earth. And we have learned that she's going to manifest as a child that needs to be protected, as a little girl. And that, so she's going to be a child. So in this new 5D Earth, we're going to see children, running around and playing and and having fun, and that's, we'll need to leave like toys out for them, and I've been told that I have a daughter in 5D, or something like that, something to that effect. But yeah, it's going to be a beautiful experience. So let's see here. ETs say Earth's transformation process has begun and will continue to increase. Funny thing here, ETs never used the term 5D. They just never used that term. So I'm led to believe that this shift in frequency is maybe not 5D. That's just a term that we humans use to describe it. I've told you what the fifth dimension is, and I don't think that we're going to be in the fifth dimension. I think that it will be a shift up. We'll still be in 3D, just not negativity, the density, the heaviness, the harshness of 3D. It will be a reprieve from that. It'll be an enlightened version of 3D with, open ET contact, literally we will be able to create what we want in 5D, or that in that shifted up world. I've already created a world where, or I think we'll probably live like in different parts of the world, like different biomes. So, people who love snow, they'll be in the snowy biome. People who love the desert will be in the desert biome. It's up to us all to create that, to create the experience that we want to achieve. And so, so I, what I did is I was like, okay, I want like islands. I want like a bunch of islands. I want different, different shapes, different colors, different like vegetation, different like um bird like with birds and different colors, different flowers and things like that. And then I was like, okay, I want to be able to go scuba dive without a tank. Be able to the whole underwater breathing thing is, like so that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted a bunch of islands with with reefs, coral reefs, and a bunch of beautiful like sea life, whales, dolphins, all kinds of stuff in there. And then just like imagining, just creating what I really wanted to experience, you know. Um many people I'm sure would like to live in a world like Pandora or something like that. Like the Avatar world. And so, it's up to us to create that, to create what we want. So, moving on here, ETs seem to encourage belief in physical separation. Sorry. ETs seem to encourage a belief in a physical, separate 5D Earth realm and alternate physical realities. So, yeah. So again, they never say 5D, but alternate like physical Earth realms. So and another thing that they've told my teacher when he asked these questions is he asked, okay, well, because he initially wanted everyone to shift up, but that's not going to be possible. So he asked, is there going to be 3 Earths, or like, is there going to be a different Earth realms? Different physical Earths. And the response that he got was he was sleeping and he was like asleep, and then like he heard ding ding ding. So, and then he heard that a couple of times. Ding ding ding. And so those are different harmonics of Earth. So he heard like, low A, middle A, and high A key. So this tells us that there's going to be different harmonics of Earth. 3 different, a lower world, a middle world, and a higher world. So, let's see what else. And the ETs told me personally, like, we know why you're coming home soon. And they like to tell me things like, we know why. If you looked at my channeling session with Mahadeva, with my teacher, Michael Denney, he in that channeling session, he said that the ETs were saying. Were telling me things like we know why. And it was meant to signify like we know all why, like all of life's questions, because that was something that I was very curious about as a kid. Like I was, I was asking all kinds of questions about Earth and why and this and that. As a kid, you're very curious about that stuff, or at least I was. Especially because I didn't have a very happy childhood. So. And, hey, if I. that they're just telling me that I'm coming to, that higher 5D soon, that higher dimension soon, or the higher realm of Earth. So, yeah, it's cool. So in the meantime, I have a job to do. So that's kind of all the notes that I wrote for now, but yeah. Every time I do these videos, my head just like it's this size. And so yeah. But alright guys, well, it's been an hour. I hope you guys have enjoyed this and have gotten some useful knowledge out of it. And hey, please do join my Patreon. If you want to shift up with me, then you gotta join my Patreon. Because I do have a lot of good things on there. If you want like literal energy practices to shift your body up, to shift your physical body up to that dimension, then you gotta, do the energy practices. If you want to experience like 5D meditations or interdimensional meditations, and go to that channel. I've already got like more than 6 up there, probably about 10 meditations up there already. So go to my Patreon, subscribe to the interdimensional meditation tier. I've made it very affordable for you guys. And until this 5D Earth shift, I gotta, keep making money, pay my bills and all that, even though that's not really something that I focus on a lot. Is just like money is necessary for this reality, and like money is not real. Money's there's no such thing as money. Money is a symbol for value, for trading, receiving, and all that crap. So, yeah, I mean, and if you want what I have, you gotta do what I do. Which, I mean, I paid my teacher a lot of money over the years. I do, even though I have a limited income, it's like, this is worth it, I have a very limited income, but it's like, this is, the spiritual growth is totally worth it. So, the earth is shifting, the earth will rise up soon, so don't hang on to your money. Like, it's very simple. Just like, if you want something, go after it. Like, do it. Like, this 3D experience will be ending soon, so You know, it's like, go after what you want. It's going to take some time to shift, but, you know, go after what you want right now. So if you want to buy that, you know, jet ski or or whatever it is, like if you want, you know, some spiritual counseling courses or spiritual counseling sessions with me, go ahead and do it. Because this stuff is going to help you shift up. Okay? So patreon.com/GabboTheShaman right there. And you can also go to GabboTheShaman.com and, you know, so I have a lot of things to offer there. There's also a 20% discount until the end of the month on all membership tiers, so you can check that out. Yeah, really trying my best to get some more patrons on my Patreon, and who knows, I might even end up enabling memberships for this channel to create some members only content. So alright guys, that's it for me. Love you guys, take care. I am very lightheaded right now, so I gotta do some breathing exercises. Alright, love you guys and take care. Bye.